Right now at 6, the 58th governor of Missouri gives his first State of the State address.
And the state of our forecast is still very warm as we head into the afternoon. We'll have a look at the forecast to get you out the door coming up.
Plus, students at Lamar High School got a chance to learn about military service.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Elise Snowe.
And I'm Chris Warner. It's now Wednesday. It's January the 29th. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Yes.
And it is a bit chilly out there. Not cold
No.
Everywhere, but it is chilly. But it will not be by the time you and I head home today. It's going to be fantastic. And hopefully you're able to enjoy it. And don't worry, at least at this point, our weekend forecast is still holding up pretty good. So if you're not able to get out today, you'll still be able to as we head into the weekend. And boy, it's been a nice little preview of spring.
It really has.
After all this cold weather, it's nice to thaw out for a minute.
Yeah.
There's still been a lot of snow piles. It's been how long since we got that snow? And there's still been like snow piles in parking lots.
It's been like 2 weeks.
Yeah, those are finally going away.
Yes.
And thankfully, they should be gone in time for some rain. Well, let's get you out the door first. We're going to look outside from our camera at 4th and Broadway in downtown Pittsburgh. And you can see that old bank building. Yesterday, they were still taking it apart. It is completely apart now. It kind of looks like what happens when my kids are playing with Legos. They build something really nice, and then it in a matter of minutes looks about like that. And then they act surprised. So, But thankfully, I'm sure these construction crews here are probably not surprised the building looks like that. I believe that was probably intentional. Otherwise, we're looking pretty good. 7th and Rangeline, our camera there, also looking great this morning. We are seeing those clouds progressively increase in our southern counties, but our northern counties right now still clear skies out there. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline looking good as well. We'll head over to Kansas. KDOT camera 69 East 520th Avenue is also looking fairly good this morning. Let's take a look at the future track. So by noon, we're looking to be pretty good. Look at these temperatures, low, mid, and upper 50s. Clouds gradually increasing. So again, up north, partly cloudy. Down south, mostly cloudy. So a mix of that. But by this evening, we'll eventually all be mostly cloudy. Somewhere around 8, 9 o'clock this evening, we're going to start to see some of those showers, maybe a couple of rumbles of thunder working into the area ahead of more rain overnight tonight and into tomorrow. We're at 35 in Joplin, 30 in Pittsburgh, and temperatures around the area similar to yesterday, a fairly wide mix. We've got low, mid, upper 20s, and we have low, mid, and upper 30s, and still sitting even at 40 in Bentonville right now. So for most of us, kids getting on the bus are going to want something to stay warm in, but something that will maybe fit in their backpack or is at least easy to carry home. Mid 30s. Partly cloudy, southwest breeze 5 to 10, and then partly to mostly cloudy skies this afternoon. 60 when the bus brings them home. Winds will be calm. And our highs today, no matter where you are, you're going to be anywhere from 15 to 20 degrees above normal. Remember, we should be about 45, 46. We're looking to cap out on average about 60. But some of us, upper 50s, others low to mid 60s. And again, clouds increasing through the day ahead of our increasing rain chances, which we will talk about those and that weekend forecast here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right. Thanks, Chris. We'll see you soon. Well, the search for 2 children at a lake in Lynn County, Kansas takes a tragic turn. The search began last night around 8 when Lynn County deputies were alerted of 2 missing children in the Lake Chaparral community. The sheriff's office used a drone to search the area above the lake where they discovered the 2 children had died trapped under the ice. Authorities say it's important to educate children on the dangers of ice.
Educating our children and ourselves of the danger that comes from the ice. Hypothermia sets in really quick, and if they had already been outside in the weather for any time period, their bodies were already chilled before they entered the water. And so just the importance of making sure that our children understand the necessity to stay away from the ice.
Rescue crews from Overland Park assisted with the recovery. Now, this is a developing story, and we'll have more details on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com, as they become available. Well, Southeast Kansas authorities investigate after finding a body in the ruins of a house fire. The fire swept through a single-family home in La Harpe, Kansas Monday. Authorities say the home was engulfed when they arrived, and it took several hours for firefighters to extinguish it. They later found an unidentified body inside. Authorities have requested an autopsy, and the Kansas State Fire Marshal's office is investigating. And now you can stay up to date with the latest news, weather, and sports with the KOAM Plus TV streaming app. It's available on Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV Plus, and Roku. The player is also available on our news and weather apps as well as our website. Watch live streaming anytime, absolutely free. The KOAM Plus TV streaming app. Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe gives his first State of the State address last night. Governor Kehoe spoke before members of the General Assembly just 2 weeks after assuming the office. Now, in his acceptance speech, the governor last night spoke about improving the lives of Missourians through expanding education opportunities, cutting taxes, and expanding child care. Kehoe said those are all possible through focusing on public safety as well as enforcing and preventing crime in the Show Me state.
Before becoming governor, I promised Missourians I would take action on crime as soon as my hand left the Bible on Inauguration Day. And we did just that, signing 6 executive orders that were developed based on input from law enforcement to launch our Safer Missouri initiative.
Mike Kehoe was sworn in on January 13th as the 58th governor of Missouri. Missouri National Guard is making history at Lamar High School with a new program called Guard X. Now, it's intended to give students the opportunity to meet great Guard members and learn about what joining the military means. Recruiters were on hand to talk about educational benefits, combat routines, and employment options. Now, one recruiter says it gives students the chance to know what's going on right in their backyard.
In the military, we always need more people, and especially recovering from COVID and just the national climate. It's been tough over the last several years. Recruiting in all branches nationwide has been a problem.
Sergeant Dixon goes on to say that anyone who has been told they couldn't join the military in the past should double check because many rules have changed, including age requirements. Well, there's a new sheriff in Newton County, and he says he's ready to get to work. Nat Stewart was sworn into the role earlier this month. Stewart won the Republican primary in August and was unopposed for the position in the November election. Stewart has a decades-long career, spending 20 years at the Joplin Police Department and retired as chief in 2020. Prior to swearing in as sheriff, he was the director of the Children's Center. Stewart says as sheriff, he's working on transparency within the department.
To me, it's important that our community understands what our deputies go through each day. Make sure that they know what's going on in their community and make sure that they just know and trust that what we're doing here is what's best for our community.
Now, the sheriff says he is organizing monthly Meet the Sheriff events where the community can come speak with him one-on-one. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes coming up on the KOAM Morning News. The nation's report card says children's reading scores are still continuing to decline. Plus, temporary protected status holders are concerned about President Trump's new immigration policies. And Chris Warner returns with another look at your Wednesday forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from Sheldon, Missouri. Well, topping Nation Watch this morning. A new report found students are still struggling to bounce back after the pandemic, especially when it comes to reading. The 2024 National Assessment of Educational Progress, also known as the nation's report card, was just released. Now, it looks at how 4th and 8th graders nationwide are doing in math and reading. Average reading scores have declined at both grade levels compared to the last report in 2022. And this continues a slide in reading achievement that started before the pandemic. Now, as for math, average scores increased for 4th graders since 2022, but there was no significant change for 8th graders. One bright spot, the report found absenteeism has declined since the last assessment. Well, on Tuesday, General Motors reported record profits for 2024 and said it expects even better operating results in the year ahead. However, the automaker also admitted new policies under the Trump administration could impact those projections. Tariffs on imports from Canada and Mexico could disrupt GM's supply chain and raise the cost of assembling vehicles. Now, that's because those two countries provide parts to GM's U.S. plants. The company also has assembly plants in both countries, sending cars to the U.S. market. Trump's positions on electric vehicles and the Environmental Protection Agency's emission rules could also have significant impacts on GM. Well, coffee prices hit a new high this week compared to last week. Tuesday, future prices of Arabica coffee from Latin America jumped nearly 2%. Now, the increase came after President Donald Trump said he would impose a 25% tariff on Colombia. The White House later paused that decision, and Colombia is the third largest coffee producing country in the world. According to the World Bank, Arabica coffee has already increased by 13% in December. Bad weather has been a factor for coffee production in regions like Brazil and Colombia since 2011. Trade experts say the region's next crop is expected to produce a bigger yield. A temporary projected status holder from Philadelphia shares concerns about how President Trump's immigration policies could impact her and her family. Madeline Wright has the story.
She's a wife and mother living in Philadelphia after escaping political persecution in Caracas, Venezuela. She asked we keep her identity anonymous. She says her younger son was shot for taking part in a student demonstration against President Nicolás Maduro. She says that everyone in her family was scared and her son could no longer go to college. For safety reasons, her family was given legal permission to live and work in the United States under the Temporary Protected Status Program. But she worries she could get deported after President Donald Trump ordered federal officials to review the program.
It's very frustration and very fear, and it's the emotion, multiple emotion in my heart.
Her TPS status is valid through summer of 2026, but she doesn't know if she'll be allowed to extend it. Immigration advocate Rosana Arteaga Lopensa says many people are concerned.
It puts the Venezuelan community in a jeopardy situation because we are unable to go back to our country because politically it's falling apart.
With planes of immigrants being sent back to their countries, this mom says the fear of being deported is worse now that the Trump administration is allowing ICE to raid schools and churches.
No todos somos criminales.
She says we're not all criminals. She says she's working with her lawyer to understand her rights.
And that's a look at some of today's top national stories. Here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at the Skywatch Storm Tracker. You can see we've got the clouds continuing to gradually increase across the area. We'll have another full look at your forecast, talk about our rain chances when we come back.
Well, age is just a number. Just ask a Louisiana 14-year-old who saved her parents and the family's horse after a hit-and-run crash flipped their car. Riley Kramer has the details.
To leave somebody like that, accidents happen, but you don't leave somebody like that on the side of the road. If we would have flipped 10 foot sooner, we would have drowned in the canal, and nobody would have found us until the next morning because it was so dark. I felt like forever, but it must have been, I don't know, a couple minutes.
Stacy Gilpin is holding her only daughter a little closer tonight after she saved her husband, and their horses' lives. A reckless driver crashed into the side of their truck and caused them to flip. The trailer, with their 13-year-old horse, Whiskey, detached mid-air and flipped on its side. The driver kept going.
We could barely hear Mia in the back. She was mumbling, "I'm going to get y'all out. Don't worry, I'm going to get y'all out."
The second we stopped flipping, I had to take a breath and tell my parents that we were okay. I was like, it's going to be okay.
Mia Gilpin is just 14 years old, but took control of the situation when her parents were trapped in the car and there was only one way out.
So I kicked the window. I didn't have any shoes on. I kicked the window out and I felt my parents coming out behind me.
After pulling her parents out, she went to save her best friend.
I'm so glad he's okay. He's everything to me.
Mia managed to get Whiskey to come out of the trailer and swim through the canal to get out.
Without that trailer, I don't think he'd be alive. It saved his life. My dad's truck saved our lives. He really shouldn't be alive. He's a miracle. He could have drowned me in there. He could have hurt me with the windows, with the glass, all that, but he was just great. Same thing with my parents, breaking out that window. God had his hand on me. I would have never thought I'd be able to do that.
Thanks to Mia, everyone is okay, but the driver who did this is still out there.
Just for them to leave us there, it kind of breaks my heart that the world's like that, but you know.
Louisiana State Police confirmed this was a hit-and-run accident, and they're still looking for the driver and the vehicle. Now let's head over to Chris for a quick look at your forecast.
We are going to have a pretty decent day out there. Got a pretty nice start to the day as well. We'll have a full look at your forecast when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 6:22, coming up on 6:23 on this Wednesday morning. We're going to start again with the future track by noon. Looking pretty good in terms of our temperatures. We'll have that mix of partly to mostly cloudy skies, but as the day goes on, we'll all eventually have mostly cloudy skies, and then eventually after that, we'll have just cloudy skies as we start to see showers and even a couple of thunderstorms begin rolling in after about 8, with those chances gradually increasing the later we go into the evening and overnight hours. So some good news, not anticipating any severe weather with this activity, but some thunderstorms will be possible. A heavy rain is the greater concern, so there's going to be a minor risk, at least, for some flash flooding out there when you get under one of these storms with the heavier rain. There's some greater concerns for some flooding off to our south and east. If that changes, of course, we'll let you know. But at this point, we're just looking at a minor risk for maybe some flash flooding, again, especially along and south of I-44, where some of that heavier rain will be. Scattered showers and storms continue through the evening. The day will be picking up as we start our morning commute. So by tomorrow at 5 a.m., we have some isolated showers out there, but more thunderstorms, more heavy rain rolling in from the south, and they'll continue to overspread the area. So when you're heading to work, getting the kids on the bus, whatever the case may be, just be prepared for some heavy rain and some thunder and maybe some lightning out there associated with these storms as well. Again, no severe weather is expected, but we'll have these on again, off again, showers and storms throughout the majority of the day on Thursday. You saw by about mid-afternoon, we might get a little pause in activity before we see additional showers and storms roll through, and then maybe early Friday morning, a few lingering showers out there. But eventually, this system moves on off to our east. We get north winds back behind it. We're going to be cooler, but seasonably cooler as we head into our Friday afternoon. Quick look at temperatures. We're sitting at 35 in Joplin. Winds already beginning to calm down, and they're expected to be calm all day today. Maybe a light breeze here and there, but nothing too crazy. Temperatures, again, a very wide variety like we had yesterday. We've got mid-upper 20s, and we go low mid-30s, and even upper 30s, and still sitting at 40 in Bentonville. They've been at 40 most of the morning, staying a little bit warmer down to the south. Eventually, all of us very warm today. Mid-30s to start, partly to mostly cloudy skies, low 50s by 11 o'clock this morning. And into the afternoon we go, highs about 60. Some of us upper 50s, others low to mid-60s. So that puts us in that range of anywhere, keep in mind, our average high about 45, 46. So we're talking 10, 15, maybe even in some cases 20 degrees warmer than normal as we head through the afternoon. Clouds increase through the evening, so temperatures will actually level out. You know how the clouds work is that blanket that keeps some of the warm air in. And we'll start to see showers and a few thunderstorms late this evening into the overnight. Southeast breeze 5 to 10, lows back into the upper 40s, upper 50s tomorrow. Scattered showers and storms through the day, again continuing into very early Friday morning. Cooler on Friday, a great weekend ahead of us, an excellent opportunity to head outside and just enjoy the outdoors before the seasonable weather kicks in. So yeah, it's going to be colder next week, but it's going to be seasonably cool with additional rain chances. Let's check your forecast. We're going to send it over to Lise now with Health Watch.
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, people who use cannabis over the course of many years are at risk for poor memory and brain function. A study published in JAMA Network found even recent cannabis use led to diminished cognitive performance, but young people who used cannabis for many years performed worse in tests of their memory and language. Well, loud and noisy places don't raise your blood pressure. A study by Johns Hopkins looked at whether blood pressure screenings are still accurate if they're held in clinics and public spaces with a lot of noise. Now, they found that the noise level had minimal impacts on blood pressure, and that means that large-scale blood pressure screenings could be held in supermarkets, schools, or places of worship. People with type 2 diabetes are often missing out on essential vitamins and minerals. A study by BMJ Group found diabetics often have micronutrient deficiencies. 60% had low levels of vitamin D. But researchers say it's not yet clear if vitamin deficiencies lead to type 2 diabetes or are caused by it. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back. Right now it's 6:30. A fire department in Joplin becomes a safe haven for surrendered infants.
And we've got ourselves a bit of a chilly start out there. It will be warmer this afternoon. A look at that forecast, get you out the doors coming up.
Plus, we'll take you to one small Missouri town that's big on charm.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:29, just coming up on 6:30. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. It's now Wednesday. It's January the 29th, and we are doing pretty good so far. We've had a little bit of spring here at the end of the month, which is nice because it gives us an opportunity to thaw out and not be too cold. But we're also at a point where we're in that mix where, you know, we can get snow as late as March or even April in some cases here in the 4 states, but it also starts to gradually warm up as we head through February. So that'll be fantastic. I'm ready for spring. We've had our snow, we've had our cold. It's time to move on. And we're getting a little taste of that, and we've been getting a little taste of that, and we will continue to do so. Let's take a look outside downtown Pittsburgh, 4th and Broadway, looking back to the southeast. Again, skies are clear to partly cloudy right now as clouds continue to increase across the region. Our camera at 7th and Rangeline in Joplin looks good so far. It has been eerily deserted out there all morning, 7th and Rangeline. I mean, we've had some cars, but I don't think I've ever seen it this empty this early in the morning, or this late into the morning rather. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline looking good as well so far. We'll head back to Kansas, the KDOT camera south of Pittsburgh. See, there's plenty of people on 69. Maybe that's why they're not driving around in Joplin. They're all on 69. There must be something going on in or around Pittsburgh today. You never know. Let's take a look at the future track. By this afternoon, again, a mix of partly to mostly cloudy skies. Clouds will continue to increase through the day. Eventually, we'll all be mostly cloudy, and then later, we'll just be cloudy. And we'll start to see around 8, maybe a little after, isolated to scattered showers start to roll into the area, and eventually even some thunderstorm activity, but no severe weather, okay? 35 in Joplin, 30 in Pittsburgh right now, and across the region, again, we've got this wild mix of temperatures. We had the same thing yesterday. We've got low, mid, upper 20s, and then we've got low, mid, and upper 30s. And again, Bentonville all morning long has not moved, just been sitting at about 40 all morning out there. So the warm spot so far. Kids getting on the bus are going to want a jacket. Should be about the mid-30s out there, partly cloudy, southwest winds 5 to 10. And when that bus brings them back home this afternoon, again, partly to mostly cloudy skies, depending where you are, 60 with a calm breeze. And again, clouds increasing, highs today right about 60, so some of us a little below, some of us a little over that, which will put all of us anywhere from, say, 15 to 20 degrees above normal for today's highs. Now, the rain chances will increase later this evening and overnight. We'll talk about those rain chances and the upcoming weekend here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, Fire Station 7 in Joplin celebrated a new way of saving lives. Joplin city officials, members of the fire department, community resources staff, and volunteers came out for the opening of a brand new Safe Haven baby box drop-off. The baby box will provide a safe and anonymous option for parents in crisis to surrender infants. Now, this is the first baby box in Joplin and only the 6th in the state. Safe Haven says they found a perfect place in Station 7.
A lot of time to be placed in here because it was a new one, and I have just had a great relationship with Chief Azell here, and I got to spend a couple hours here with your fire department, and they're just an amazing group.
The baby box was blessed and placed into service yesterday. Yesterday, students from grades 6 through 12 attended a mental health presentation at the Joplin Public Library, hosted by the Children's Center of Southwest Missouri. The event lasted 1 hour and provided kids the chance to complete worksheets and share their thoughts.
The main thing that we try to get, especially teens, to understand about their mental health is just that they're not alone. The number one complaint we hear a lot of times is around bullying and isolation. One of the toughest things for teens is just feeling like they don't have somewhere to turn. So one of the things we talked about tonight is figuring out what that person looks like for you.
The next Adulting 101 class is scheduled for February 27th and will focus on media literacy. Well, the oldest Jasper County, Missouri resident is very excited about the upcoming Super Bowl matchup. 105-year-old Helen Hubbard happens to be a die-hard Kansas City Chiefs fan. Now, her favorite team is the first in NFL history to reach 5 Super Bowls in a 6-season span. Now she's looking forward to watching the game alongside all the other Chiefs fans at the St. Luke's Nursing Center in Carthage.
Wonderful, and especially for the players. I want them to play good. I don't want them to get hurt.
The Chiefs fan says it's not every day you get to see your team have such a historic run. And anyone who has lived in this area long enough knows about the charm of small towns. KOAM photographer Trevor Lewis has been featuring some of those towns and brings us a look at Golden City, Missouri.
Golden City is the only golden city in the USA. It is the one and only. It has a lot of history. We've lost a lot of business, but at one time you could get everything we needed right here in Golden City. In 1955, there were more Ford cars sold in Golden City than any place in the Kansas City district. Could travel any place across the United States, start visiting with somebody, and they'd always ask about Cookie's Cafe. We had a teen town, and after the show, all the kids went to the teen town. A lot of the other towns didn't have dancing, so most everybody wanted to come to Golden City. So now we do have a museum, and it is just to keep a lot of artifacts and memorabilia from going into a dumpster someplace, because the generation that is just about gone, but as they pass away, the children find things that they've put back, and it would go into a dumpster or go into a garage sale if we didn't have the museum. So we feel like we're lucky to be able to have the museum. If you want to live in a good area, it's the place to live. It's just a good bedroom community.
And just in case you were wondering about the population of Golden City, Missouri, it's 657. Well, today you had the opportunity to watch KOAM's very own Dow Quick in the City of Pittsburgh's featured segment, Cruisin' the Burg. Now, this Facebook feature stars Assistant City Manager Jay Byers as he cruises around town interviewing local icons from Pittsburgh. Now, you'll learn some interesting tidbits about Dow, like where he and his wife Kay were married, and something interesting about the view from his previous home. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. The White House is offering buyouts to federal workers if they resign by February 6th. And we have a warm and partly cloudy day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. But first, here's a live look from Sheldon, Missouri. In Consumer Watch this morning, do you have enough savings to cover a $1,000 emergency? Well, a recent survey suggests fewer than half of Americans would be able to pay for an unexpected bill. Jen Sullivan has tips on bolstering your savings.
When it comes to putting money away, it appears many Americans don't have enough savings.
I think the first thing that people need to do is just to simply make their personal finances a priority.
Bankrate recently surveyed more than 1,000 adults about spending. When asked if they could pay for a $1,000 emergency, only around 41% said they had enough savings to cover a bill like that. 25% said they would put that charge on a credit card, which means that $1,000 bill could be a lot more if you don't pay it off in time due to interest.
That really raises the risk that all of a sudden we have a larger pile of debt that we have to retire. And frankly, there will be another sudden or emergency expense down the road that will only make it more challenging for us to accomplish all of our financial goals.
The most worrisome finding? 27% of adults say they have no emergency savings at all. So how can you make sure you're putting enough money away? Hamrick suggests creating a budget.
We need to identify how much we're paying for things and to isolate some of the things that are either unnecessary or too costly that we can manage from our budget.
First, calculate how much you spend on necessities, housing costs, utilities, food, car payments, phone, internet, and cable costs. Then figure out what you can put into savings. Financial experts recommend having 3 to 6 months worth of expenses in a savings account. Hamrick suggests putting money into a high-yield savings account, which means you'll be making higher interest on that money. But make sure there aren't penalties or time constraints on withdrawals, so you're able to take that money out when you need it most. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
The White House is offering federal workers the option of keeping full pay and benefits through the end of September if they decide to resign their positions by February 6th. The senior administration officials say they expect around 10% of the roughly 2 million civilian federal employees nationwide will opt in. The American Federation of Government Employees Union criticized the program, saying it will have vast unintended consequences that will cause chaos. In an email to federal workers, the Trump administration said that those who decide to remain will not have full assurance that their roles won't be eliminated. U.S. consumer confidence dipped for the second month straight. According to business research group The Conference Board, Americans 55 and under were mostly responsible for the 5-point drop in January compared to last month. Overall, surveys respondents seemed to have a more pessimistic outlook over future jobs and earning prospects. And after weeks of teasing on social media, Popeyes and Tequila Don Julio finally unveiled the details of their collaboration. The fast food chain will serve Don Julio flavored chicken sandwiches, wings, and mocktails on a championship menu ahead of next month's Super Bowl in New Orleans. The items will be sold Friday only at locations in just 6 cities. And that's it for Consumer Watch. Here's Chris with another look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got, again, a chilly start out there, or a cold start for some of you, but we all will eventually warm up later today. Quick look outside. You can see the clouds now. We're getting a little daylight. You can see we're talking about those increasing clouds through the morning. There they are, our camera downtown Pittsburgh. Over to 7th and Rangeline. If you look, it may be hard to see on your TV, but you can see this little dark shadow right here. That's more clouds out there. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline looking good as well so far this morning. And we'll head over to KDOT camera south of Pittsburgh. And we are dry, and we will be dry throughout the morning, but we will eventually see rain chances increase late this evening. Clouds will increase in the interim. Winds will be calm, and our temperatures today well above average. And it, again, won't be until about after 8 or so that we start to see some of those showers roll into the area. 35 in Joplin, 28 in Pittsburgh, and we've got that wide range of temperatures once again across the area. We've got low, mid, upper 20s and then low, mid, upper 30s, and Bentonville still sitting at 40 degrees as the warm spot. Kids getting on the bus this morning, they'll want a jacket for sure. Mid-30s, partly cloudy, southwest breeze at around 5 to 10. Well, that bus brings them back home later today, 60. Partly to mostly cloudy skies and a calm breeze. Very warm out there later today. We'll have another look at your forecast here in just a moment. We'll also have birthdays and anniversaries, but first, here's what's happening on CBS Mornings.
I'm Nate Burleson. Coming up on CBS Mornings, award-winning actor Laverne Cox joins us to talk about her new series, Clean Slate, in which she's the star, as well as the creator and executive producer. Plus, we will reveal the 2025 Grammy Music Educator of the Year. I love it when we do that on CBS Mornings. That's coming up on CBS Mornings.
All right, it's time for some Wednesday birthdays in the 4 states. And we are starting with Elijah Harris celebrating birthday number 6. Happy birthday.
And in Bronson, a happy 6th birthday to Harlan Spain Howard.
And we have Maddie Westerhold celebrating birthday number 7, where our photographer is this morning in Sheldon, Missouri. Happy birthday.
And happy 12th birthday to Olivia Coltrane. It says, happy birthday, love mom and dad.
And in Pittsburgh, Brooklyn Loftmiller celebrating birthday number 16 with love from Grandma and Grandpa Loftmiller.
And in Columbus, a happy 53rd anniversary to Randy and Patty Robinson.
All right, that was a little bit shorter of a list, but still a great list of birthdays and anniversaries, and we want you to celebrate with us because we want to celebrate with you. Elise, what should they do?
Yes, go ahead and submit those birthdays and anniversaries to birthdays at KOAMNewsNow.com. Be sure to include those wonderful photos and messages to meet the deadline that you see there at the bottom of your screen, and to also include the date of the celebration as well.
Very important to include that date as well so that we ensure that it airs at the right time. All right, let's take a look outside. Take a look at this. We got those clouds. They're increasing from south to north, so that's why it's given us a beautiful sunrise this morning from our camera in downtown Pittsburgh. Of course, at 4th and Broadway, looking along 4th Street to the east, and it just looks absolutely beautiful. A little bit on the chilly side this morning again, but a beautiful start to the day. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline. Of course, we don't control the MoDOT cameras, but this one's pointed back to the west. And we're still looking good, but the clouds are continuing to increase across the area, and they will do so gradually until we all are eventually cloudy. On to the future track we go, and by noon, partly to mostly cloudy skies, so it's going to depend on where you are, how much sunshine you get. Those clouds will spread across the area. Eventually, we'll all be mostly cloudy, and then just plain old cloudy, and that is because it's going to rain later tonight. So we're looking at 8, 9, 10 o'clock. In that range, we're going to start to see showers, maybe even a couple of thunderstorms roll into the area. Initially, they'll be scattered at first, but then they'll pick up in coverage as we go toward tomorrow morning. So around 4 or 5 a.m., we get more organized shower and thunderstorm activity out there. So I want to emphasize, no severe weather is expected, but heavy rain is a concern that could lead to some temporary or at least minor flash flooding. So it's something to keep in mind for your morning commute, because that's when it's really going to start to ramp up. If you know your route is prone to flash flooding, maybe consider an alternate route. And you may need to consider that same alternate route on the way home, because take a look. These scattered showers and storms will continue to spread across the area throughout the morning hours. So not only is it going to bother us with our commute, kids getting on the bus, they're going to need an umbrella, stay in the car, whatever the case may be, and it will rain on us for pretty much the entire day. We may get pauses here and there with some of the scattered activity, but otherwise we're just looking showers and storms again. No severe weather, but just some much needed rain continuing through the majority of the day. By the time we get in the late evening on Thursday, it'll start to clear up a bit, become a lot more scattered. Could have a few isolated showers as we head into the first early morning hours of our Friday, and then we'll start to gradually clear out, be a little cooler with winds coming out of the north on the backside. Our camera 7th and Rangeline looking toward the sunrise looks great as well. 35 in Joplin. Winds are already calm at this point, and they're expected to remain calm throughout today. And our temperatures, again, we got that mix. We've got some low, mid, upper 20s, and then we've got some low, mid, upper 30s. Still 40 degrees in Bentonville. It's been 2 straight hours. That temperature has not moved. So either it just really is 40 in Bentonville, or there could be something wrong with the reporting station. But either way, it's just a wide variety of temperatures. All of us, though, will be warmer later today. Mid-30s to start, and again, a mix of partly to mostly cloudy skies, and we'll be up into the low 50s by 11 o'clock this morning. Our highs today, by the way, which we'll talk about in a moment, anywhere from 15 to upwards of 20 degrees above normal. So you want to talk about spring-like weather? Yeah, we're definitely on it. This is where our average high should be. We're going to reach that right around 10 o'clock this morning. That's how warm we're going to be. We'll have another look at your forecast here in just a moment, plus the news you need to know. And when we switch over to Fox 14, which happens at 7 a.m., we're going to see why tourists are heading to a botanical garden to see a rare flower bloom.
And here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Southeast Kansas authorities are investigating the findings of a body in the ruins of a house fire in La Harpe, Kansas on Monday. After fighting the fire for several hours, an unidentified body was discovered inside. Authorities have requested an autopsy, and the Kansas State Fire Marshal's office is investigating. Matt Stewart was sworn in as the new sheriff in Newton County earlier this month. Stewart says as sheriff, he's working on transparency within the department. The sheriff says he's organizing monthly Meet the Sheriff events where the community can come speak with him one-on-one. And Fire Station 7 in Joplin celebrated a new way of saving lives with the opening of a brand new Safe Haven baby box drop-off. The baby box will provide a safe and anonymous option for parents in crisis to surrender infants. This is the first baby box in Joplin and the only the sixth in the state. And that's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
And as you head out the door, again, a bit chilly this morning and then much warmer today, about 60. Partly to mostly cloudy skies, calm winds. Those clouds continuing to increase through the evening, keeping our temperatures pretty steady later. And then after about 8 or so, we'll start to see some scattered showers, maybe a couple of storms. More showers and storms overnight, upper 40s, southeast winds 5 to 10. Again, no severe weather expected, but heavy rain possible tonight through our Thursday, so do keep that in mind. Scattered showers and storms throughout the day on Thursday, upper 50s, about 50 for our Friday, maybe a couple of very early morning showers. Got a great weekend ahead of us, an opportunity to get outside and just enjoy or relax. And then we'll get cold next week, but seasonably cold with some additional rain chances.
And coming up today at noon, we're making lucky Chinese noodles in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
As your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings, the price of eggs is getting a lot of attention. High prices aren't just at the grocery store. Ahead on CBS Mornings, see why going out for breakfast isn't cheap either.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, a Texas woman shares her journey to sobriety.
Plus, Will Morris joins us in the studio for another Wildcat Wednesday. However, it's just remember, I do want to remind you, the heavy rain, watch out for flash flooding, plan your route tomorrow, your commute. And of course, we'll be tracking all the rain. No severe weather though, but some much needed rain. And that is going to do it for now. We will be back here watching those storms tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
And we'll, of course, see you today at noon.